There is a fifth dimension. A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
We should probably jump onto it though, since it's you only.
I know. I'm going to start talking about Batman miniseries here in a second.
Sorry. Whoops.
No. Anyways, guys, we're back.
Yay!
We're talking Fifth Dimension Zone podcast. We're all here, including Jacob, Alex, and Triv. I'm really tired, so this might be a very loopy episode. I don't know. It's the Twilight
Isn't
Zone.
that
It's
every
the Fifth
episode?
Dimension. Yeah,
you
but
need
I'm
some
actually
Red Bull in
tired,
your
so-
life, Nick.
Yeah.
No,
There you go.
I learned my lesson on energy drinks, unfortunately.
Oof.
But thanks for the offer, though. I could probably use
Yeah.
a
A friend of mine
drink,
gave me this peach one, so
Yay!
using that today.
I mean, I could come down there and bitch slap you.
There you go. I mean, when I ordered these flavored waters from Aldi, and I wanted mango orange, and they sent me peach. I'm like, you sons of bitches.
Those bastards.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't want a like product. I wanted the actual product.
Wanted mango orange. They sent me peach. But that's not the complaint that I have against Aldi and DoorDash. How you guys doing? How's everyone doing? How's life
Great.
outside of the Twilight Zone?
Nothing's falling
I'm
off.
so excited.
I'm okay.
Are you trying to lead a group of people off the planet but want to keep them together?
I lead a group of people every day.
You kind of do, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have like a convent of people.
A
Yeah,
convent.
my family.
I mean, isn't that what like a massive amount of people is like a convent? Is that what it's called?
No.
Or is it just a
No,
What's it
it's just a
called?
bunch of nuns.
Yeah.
bunch of nuns?
I have a compound
Nuts.
There you
Yeah,
go.
compound. A cult.
or a
of
cult.
Jacobs.
I've started a cult, but none of them follow me. None of them do what the fuck I say.
Well, then it's an anti-cult.
Definitely.
You know you need to start your own death cult band, like a death metal cult band. Call them the
It's the whole death part that I have a problem with. But everything else I'm down.
well, no, even death metal. Scream into the mic.
All the sex, drugs, and rock and roll that precede that. It's good times.
Yeah, your 2-year-old will really love
Everybody-
that.
Everybody wants with the drink the Kool-Aid. I'll be like, you guys do. You guys go first.
Just don't show them Haley's comment. That's all I can say. So
Oof. That's a Hail Bop comment.
It's my oldest kid's name.
yeah,
Hail Bop?
Haley's comment.
Ah,
Hell Bob.
Actually, just Haley, but
yeah, I got it. So, do you guys know that
Anyway.
this story takes place in 2021?
I did the math.
Yay!
How'd you know it takes place in 2020? Oh,
They said
did you read the
1991
Wikipedia
was when
page?
they landed, and they were there
Yes.
for 30 years.
Yes, that's a long time.
Can you imagine me stuck on a rock for 30 years like that with, are they on an asteroid, Jacob? Is that where we're at this point in this episode?
They're on a planet
Like,
this time.
are they?
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
they say it's a planet. One assumes.
Why is every planet in Twilight Zone a desert?
Because they need their chocolate milk and they need someone to pass out in the desert, the Death Valley. You know how this works, Trev.
That is true.
I was gonna
Although-
ask why they had more than one son.
They had more than
because it's on
Uh,
Tatooine.
Yeah, because of Elegy
Yeah.
had more than one son.
'Cause it makes
I
it all
remember the
kinds
other
of
ones.
interesting.
It makes it different from Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, makes it sci-fi. Makes it, extra hot, sweaty. This episode's very sweaty.
It
What is
is
that episode?
Incredibly sweaty.
Midnight
Right.
Sun.
Yeah, James Whitmore is sweating his way to old age in the Shawshank Redemption. But the episode is season 4, episode 16. On Thursday, we leave for home. Directed by Buzz Kulik, written by Rod Serling. Production code 4868. Air date May 2nd, 1963, which is pretty close to where we are right now when it comes to dates of when we talk about episodes and dates of when episodes released. Stars James Whitmore, as I said, of Shawshank Redemption fame, also of the one-man show that was about Harry Truman. Tim O'Connor, who was, of course, in MASH, James Broderick, Paul Langton, and Joe Helton. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but this was one of the most depressing episodes of the Twilight Zone I've ever seen. I didn't mean I didn't love it. I actually quite enjoyed it, but it's it goes places and ends on a very depressing note, to be fairly honest. But what about you guys?
You know,
I
it
mean,
it kind of goes the route of like the way that it ends is almost kind of escape clause esque. Like a guy kind of gets his comeuppance, and it's like, does he deserve those comeuppance?
yeah, yeah, cult like status, I guess you could say. I don't know. I mean, this is one of those episodes that has someone hanging from a rope that you see the feet of, kind of similar to like Jojo Rabbit a little bit. It's an episode that goes places and is really dark, but I mean, we talked about last week about not really liking the Incredible World of Horrors Ford. I don't know. What do you guys think about this episode? I don't know. It's a rough episode to get through because it's dealing with some very hard hitting subject matter in a lot of respects.
I mean, I'll watch this one over Horace Ford any day.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, the expectations were just so high.
Right.
How could they
It's
get any
sense-
lower, you know?
It's sense sarcasm.
I know.
tell you what.
Sarcasm, never.
I
was
know.
hot.
Never be sarcastic.
It was hot, flat, and unforgettable, but it was
Yes.
wet.
I was waiting for someone to
I
actually
like
bring that
my
up,
women
too.
like they like their water, okay? Hot, flat, and unforgettable, but it's wet.
God.
Would you
Oh
want to
my
serve with a
God.
chocolate ice cream with a
Soda.
soda?
Yeah.
It was ice cream soda.
I was like,
Mm.
chocolate ice cream. I'm like, okay. First of all, who puts chocolate ice cream in a soda mix? I don't get it, but
That's one of those things out of the 50s, though. Like they had the malt shops.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
well,
Mhm.
they use chocolate ice cream. I thought it was always vanilla.
no.
No, they
Any-
use different
any-
ice cream.
Yeah.
You think they just have plain ass vanilla?
I mean, the 50s were
Yes.
boring, but they weren't
No.
vanilla boring.
I mean, everything was in black and white, so I don't know if they're having chocolate ice cream or not.
If it's darker brown, it's
It's
probably
the black, the
chocolate.
vanilla's the white.
No,
Could be strawberry.
I
you know?
don't see
True.
black and white. I see
One in the
ouch.
pink, two in the stink.
Oh my god. No,
Neapolitan ice cream right there.
I hate Neapolitan ice cream. I'll be fairly
Rocky
honest.
Road?
Is there a dead guy with that Rocky Road?
Maybe. If it's 100 yards over the edge.
I think
Ooh.
it could be.
Hmm.
I like that
Um,
callback.
Yeah, right.
See, that's truly walking
Uh,
distance. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, I feel like we've had a lot of like these kind of episodes this season where it's like there's a lot of kind of depressing dark, but I think this one pulled it off better than a lot of them did.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this episode hinges on James Whitmore's performance because a lot of the people are just kind of I don't want to like disparage him or anything, but they are like background characters who follow this cult like individual, and unlike outside of the Colonel, who played by Tim O'Connor, James Whitmore is kind of the linchpin for this episode, and I think it shows how good of an actor he can be in a very unfortunate situation, because he's talking about in this episode, he talks about how, oh yeah, they're coming for us in like a few days, and Earth, he talks about Earth and stuff like that to the little kid and how green and lush it is, but there's some underlining kind of sadness and what is that word, sadness and I don't know, disturbance,
Melancholy?
Eh?
Yeah.
melancholy,
Melancholy, yeah.
disturbance in the force, I don't know, melancholy. But it's I don't know how you guys feel about his character and like how the story moves his character along, because he seems like he's trying to keep everything in order with like the water refrigeration system is on the fritz, and they're struggling with comets and asteroids and caves that have echoing involved, like really bad echoing, and I don't know what you guys think. Tell me what you think. Anybody want to go?
I mean, I think he feels, and the thing is, I think it was a nuanced performance, because on one hand, you can look at him and say he held people together when everything else fell apart. He guided them and, became everything that they needed in a time when, in a place that was requiring him to be many things. But then he couldn't let go of that when the time came to let go of that, because he saw them as not people able to make their own decisions.
Yeah, what he calls them, children have no way
Basically
of
no
thinking
common
on their
sense.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't know Earth. They don't know what's out there. The Earth is, rude and war torn and everything else, and they're going to be eaten alive, basically.
But it's funny that
Yeah.
because they've all been outside of Earth, whether they were born and raised on this planet or like came over to it through I would call it like a pilgrimage because like the whole like it said like Pilgrim One was
Mhm.
sort of part of, I guess that's the name of the mission.
Yeah, Pilgrim One.
Yeah, but I guess that's what makes it funny is that whether they, had kind of only known of that planet their whole lives or knew of Earth before coming over to the planet, he's just as ignorant towards like what Earth actually is like now, like in the quote unquote now, in the same way that everyone else would be. But I guess because
It's
of him having the sort of leadership that he has, they almost take his word over, I don't know, somebody else.
it's as Jacob alludes to, pulling off the rose tinted glasses. You have the
Well, it's weird. He kind of plays both sides. He plays Earth up as, oh, it's beautiful, and there's this and there's that. It's almost poetic. But then on the other side, it's when his leadership is challenged, everything about it is bad.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's during that
It's
like refusal to relinquish his power, there comes the sort of like doomsday outlook of it. It's like, oh, you don't want to go. But like we want to go. But then I don't know if I want to go. And I think part of it too, it's like, I mean, we'll get into it because it definitely is as Trev said, it's very nuanced, but he definitely has almost this indecisiveness towards going back to Earth with everybody else or not when there is that proposal of like on Thursday we leave for home. But I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting to see someone in his position where that like how he's trying to continue to establish his power comes from a place of like, this is sort of, as Trev said, he's pretty much brought, how the planet is, as far as their civilization to be. Let me rephrase it. But basically it's how James Whitmore's character is established throughout the story is that he came over to the planet when he was 15 and worked his way up, pretty much kept everyone together and united and, pretty much had this established power for a good majority of his time on the planet, and he doesn't know any different. And then when there is that proposed change and relinquishing of power and control in that, higher up position where he does have the command. And I know command is definitely something that was kind of like a big word in the episode that stood out to me at least. Then it's like he doesn't really know what to do with himself, but he also, has this sort of almost ultimatum between staying and going because if he stays, he can still have what he's already established and can continue with or without
yeah.
people. Or if he goes, then it's like he knows that like it obviously isn't going to be the same, but he very much wants to carry over what's on the planet pretty much throughout the episode, onto Earth. But it becomes more evident that like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and it almost sounds like, it's gonna sound funny. It almost sounds like a certain cowboy who control or as the leader of a group of individuals, and a spaceman comes down and disrupts all of it, and he can't handle it. I wonder where that comes from. It feels like a certain Pixar animated movie got their influence from this episode, but they didn't end up in a pizza planet trying to look for a rocket.
Hey, you're talking about Toy Story. Yeah.
Hey, Jacob.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's the idea of like a man who has been so in charge and is so much the leader is found like when his leadership is confronted and he's basically told you either you have to let these people go, and he refuses to do it. It's one of those things where he has to make a choice, and as we see at the end, he makes the choice and he kind of regrets it, but I don't know.
I like this episode. What I liked about this episode was how they get I thought they spent their time really well, how they they get there and they're all excited and this is what they've wanted for 30 years, and then we slowly see, because at first it's almost like the Colonel and the people from Earth are the bad guys. They're kind of framed that way, that they're coming in and kind of like, it's like come on, guys, this guy's been in charge all this time. How are you going to come and just like disregard everything he says? He has a point. He knows what he's talking about. And he's making sense. Like when they're playing the baseball game and all that, he's like, this isn't a good idea, you know? And he's probably right. It's like, you don't know how hot it is here. These people are going to fall out. So he's making sense at that point. But then as it goes on, you start to see that like, okay, he has a little bit of a warped view, I think, of how things are. I think he's been in charge of everything for too long. Now, what I liked the most about it wasn't just that clear cut that, oh, I feel like a lot of this type of episode has been done on a lot of shows or type of movie where you have someone who their power is usurped and then they're power hungry. They're like, no, you can't have my power. I didn't get that from him totally. I think he really truly did think he had everyone's best interest at heart. He had been in charge for so long. That's all he knows. That's all he knew. But I think he took it to such an extreme. And then at a point, I did start to say to myself, well, I think he, on the surface at least, does have everyone's good intentions at heart. There is a part of him that all he knows is this, being in charge, being his flock. And now it's being taken away from him. And I think that's really scary to him. So while I don't think it was coming on the surface from a selfish place, I think part of it was that he didn't want to give up that. That's a big change. He didn't. Who is he without them? If they're gone, if they go back to Earth and they leave, he's nobody. And I think that terrified the hell out of him.
Let me ask you this, Jacob, and this isn't like to be funny or anything, but when you have kids, right? When you have several kids, but when you have kids, is it the same thing where you feel like you've been so in control of like their growing up and who they are that when you have to let go, does that feel like the same type of thing where it's kind of scary in a way? I mean, I don't know if that's true or not because I'm not a parent, but I'm just saying like it almost feels like that with a parent, like you have to like guys.
I mean, yeah, absolutely not. You're just ready for them to get out of the fucking house. No, I mean, no, it's a little different. I think that from like a parent standpoint, you are scared and you do have to relinquish control. I have 3 that are out of the house, but it's not like a power thing. It's more of and I guess there's a similarity to what he's saying, at least. There's more of a fear of I'm not here to protect you anymore. They're going out there and you get that like when they start leaving the house and you're just not like hands-on with everything. It's less of a power, well, for me at least, it's less of a power thing and more of very much more of a, oh my God, what's going to happen to him without me to be there to protect him, which is kind of what he was saying. And I mean, that's where I think that the shift came a little bit is he was saying that, and I think he believed it. I think he was being honest in saying that, but I think that subconsciously there was this fear of who am I without these people? I'm not going to have, it's less of a power trip and more of a, that's all I know. Who am I? I'm nobody without them. And
and that's why
there's definitely parents like that out there. There are definitely parents out there that are like, who am I once my kids are going, what they call empty nest, who am I when they're gone? And I mean, I can't really speak to that yet because it'll be a while till they're gone, all of them. So, yes, I have kids that are out of the house, but I got plenty of them still in the house. Ask me again in 17 years.
Rewriting and everything. Another 20 years when we've forgotten all about this series. And
you know what? I just got thinking of like Jake, you were talking about like he kind of has that thing about who am I without my people. He kind of plays that exact same role in Shawshank. Like when he's released from prison, he goes and like lives in the world.
Not Red.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Brooks.
Brooks. Yeah, Brooks was here.
Yeah, exactly. Like he kind of plays that same role of, I'm so used to having someone tell me when to piss, I can't, function in that respect.
Yeah, I think that's a very understandable thing. I mean, I understand where the guy's coming from. For 30 years, since he was 15, his entire adult life, because he made it sound as if pretty much from the jump he was put in charge. I don't know what happened to the original captain or whoever was in charge, but his whole life he's been in charge of these people, and then you're not. And while I've like I said, I can't speak to that even though I have kids that have left the house. I mean, it may be like that when the last one goes. I might be like, I don't have to tell anybody what to, I don't know. By that point, I think, because by that point, it would have been more than 30 years. And I think by that point, I'll be like, thank God, I don't have to tell somebody what to do. But whatever.
I think you could even say for something like this, like when, like, look at COVID, when things went to hell in a handbasket, people reverted to what they knew. And, you could say that about this too. Like, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense within the context of where they're going and what they're doing, that there's that security blanket of your comfort zone. And to some extent,
sorry.
no, go ahead. You're good.
No, you're right. I think I just dawned on me though. I actually have experienced something like this, and I kind of have a bit more of an appreciation for where this guy was coming from. Short story: when I was in the restaurant business as a chef, professional chef, you're in charge of like everything. Even though we're supposed to just be the back, we own that motherfucker. But whatever. I was transitioning out and going elsewhere, and while I was doing that, they brought someone in. I essentially was, not essentially, I was like showing them the ropes. You don't get that opportunity a lot of the time because usually people get fired or just leave on a whim in that business. But I was leaving. I was actually going within the company somewhere else. But I was there, and this person came in to take my role, and I was there to bolster them into the role. They were a bit more forceful, and I didn't really agree with everything they were doing. But at the same time, I was trying to understand this is their show now. But it was supposed to be kind of like my show until I left. And there were a lot of times they came in and started just doing their own thing. And part of me was like, okay, I understand that. But another part was like, there is a certain level of respect. You're in my house right now. Even though I'm leaving, this is my place. Just, you need to just follow me around. And then when I'm gone, do whatever you want to do. But whatever. And the new other people that came along with this person that were in some other roles, they started supporting that. So I did at a point, even though I was leaving, I felt kind of like attacked to a degree. I was kind of like, nah, yeah, you're messing with my stuff. You do that after I'm gone. I'm here to show you the ins and outs and the day to day of this particular operation. And then, then I'm gone and you do your thing. And they were doing it while I was there. So I kind of did feel as if my power was being usurped. But not just a power, it was more of a, this is mine. I have made this, I have cultivated this, and now you're coming in and you're taking it right in front of me. This bothers me. So I do get where the guy was coming from. It was a different situation, of course, but I had people there and they were coming in and, telling them things that were different from what I had said. And there's always going to be differences whenever there's someone else in charge, no matter what the situation, including this one. But it was before it was supposed to happen. Now, that was part of this episode. That was the guy kind of like stepping on his toes while they were in there. And he eventually came up and said, he was like, look, man, while we're here, this is my show. Once we get on your ship, you're in charge. But then, of course, it went from there and it turned into a bigger thing. But yeah, I kind of get where he's coming from. Probably didn't add anything to the conversation, but whatever.
but I think that shows like a real life version of what's going on here. I mean,
I think it's a very human emotion to have when you have invested a lot of your time and care in something and people, and then something comes along and disrupts that and starts going against you and taking that from you. It's kind of, it's kind of like, no, this is mine. I feel like somebody coming into your house and painting all the rooms with colors you hate, because they're going to buy the house next year. I'm still here.
Yeah, it's like a disillusionment that he has because he literally doesn't think his people are smart enough, and I think
he takes it a bit far.
Yeah,
and I think the people want to take that chance, and sometimes the chance is not always the easiest and is always going to be difficult on the road. It's not always paved with good intentions and stuff like that. And he doesn't see it that way. He's just like, oh no, they're children. They're 5 years old. They don't know any better. They didn't like. I'm like, please, child. I'm like,
yeah, I was on board with him until about that point.
Yeah,
so I was like, okay,
because he's not a bad man. He just, he just once that crew comes in, the crew comes in, and he's like trying to settle like how much luggage they can take, and then everybody's like talking to the colonel, and they're like, oh, we want to know about the lands of Earth and like what's good, what's bad, blah blah blah, and he's just like, James Whitmore's character is just like, you sons of bitches. I don't know. Alex, do you have anything?
I mean, not at the moment that like I guess hasn't been talked about before.
yeah.
Well,
And I would read the opening narration, but you know, you leave that for somebody else out of the
I was waiting for you to
forefront.
say something.
Hey, man,
I'm waiting
I
for
do it, but I'm just here to be told when to do it.
No
It's
hanky
up to
panky,
upper
Jacob.
management.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh man,
Yeah, I'm not
that
the captain
man,
of
I'm
the
gonna have
ship. You know that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna have to let go of that iron fist that I control with this podcast. That
I'm
Dude.
literally like the C-3PO R2-D2 equivalent of like, you know, what my role is on the Millennium Falcon. Like, I'm just here. Do I
Hey,
have
are
important
you the-
information? Sure.
Don't
Am
feel
I
bad.
Chewie?
I'm Sigourney Weaver's character from fucking what's the movie?
Referring to
Galaxy Quest.
Alien or
Galaxy
Avatar?
Quest.
Oh,
I just
Yeah.
repeat
Never
what
mind.
the
You got
computer
great
says.
tits, though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like Sam Rockwell in that respect. Just kind of stand in the background and smile.
And
Well, no,
scream.
Alex is writing the Journal of the Wills for our podcast. She's the one taking notes, and when we all eventually pass away, she's gonna have this big book of just nonsensical. What the hell were they talking about? Writings. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
I'm not even
true.
that much younger than you guys. Like, life's
Yeah,
weird. I
but-
don't have much of a chance. You see, what you need to do is like in Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, it's established like in like the first scene of the movie that Megorium
The
has
opening
this
narration.
like well they do it in like chapters, right? So they make like a book, but essentially there is like almost like a bookkeeper in Megorium's life that's like established. And it's like literally just like a shit ton of books. And it's just like chronicalized because I forgot how old Megorium is, but he's like over I want to say it was like 100 and around like 170 years old or so or something.
So-
Like that's part of what is established in the movie. But
So
like
basically,
that's a
how
lot of shit to cover.
how what's his face has looked for like the last 30 years.
I mean,
Dustin Hoffman.
Maybe.
He's looked 100 like the last.
Uh-huh.
No, ironically, that's where I got Movie Emporium from. I was looking up names from YouTube channels. I saw Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. I'm like, hey, Movie Emporium.
There you go.
it's a
All
good
worked
movie.
out from there.
I recommend.
All right,
Doubt.
That's the story he
Fire?
tells us. at least.
Doubtfire.
that is the
Doubtfire.
true story. I was looking for a name and I saw Mr.
There's the
Megorium's
Pleasure
Wonder Emporium.
Emporium.
And I'm
and
like,
he's like,
Yeah.
oh.
no, that's a place I found in Miami actually. So I sent a picture of Trip,
Nice.
and she won't drop. She won't let me take over a theater and make a giant Pleasure Emporium.
No.
Pleasure
Anyways.
Emporium.
There is a place
like
called
to
Pleasure
try.
Emporium that I used
Okay,
to live by.
Movie Emporium is so much more creative than Pleasure Emporium.
So much more.
Tell the sex fiends down in Miami that. Anyways,
Oh
I know
my.
Jacob's just itching to read this long ass opening narration, so
Am
let's
I?
get it out of the way. I don't know. Are you?
Yeah, it sure is long.
That's what she said.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, that is long. Okay. No,
Are you a goat?
SpongeBob.
That's
Okay. This is William Benteen, who officiates on a disintegrating outpost in space. The people are a remnant of society who left the Earth looking for the millennium, a place without war, without jeopardy, without fear. And what they found was a lonely, barren place whose only industry was survival. And this is what they've done for 3 decades. Survive until the memory of the Earth they came from has become an indistinct and shadowed recollection of another time and another place. 1 month ago, a signal from Earth announced that a ship would be coming to pick them up and take them home. In just a moment, we'll hear more of that ship, more of that home, and what it takes out of a mind and body to reach it. This is the Twilight Zone.
Very nice, Jacob. Very nice. You
I loved
know,
how during the narration. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Love during the narration. Go ahead.
No, I loved during the narration when you saw Rod. He had his like legs crossed and he had his hands
Yeah,
Like-
he had it like that, and he
like
like it
folded,
looked
like
he was like
folded on his knees, and he was like, "I'm gonna tell you a little story, sad story." And he'd be like, "Oh my god, Dad, I love a story.
Yay!
I love a bedtime story." Rod Serling as my imaginary
And
father.
as he's
Yes.
and when he finishes, the next thing he writes is, "Woman hangs herself. We see her feet dangling."
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, all right,
Feet
Thank you,
and the
Mr.
mention of
Serling.
suicide.
Right?
yeah.
yeah, I was surprised that they
Um,
showed that. Just like
Yeah.
woman, like half her body hanging. I was like, that's kind of big for 1963 TV.
is.
There's another episode that showed it, but it was more of like a shadow.
Wasn't that the Western? I think that's when
Yeah, it was
the guy
Execution.
gets teleported to like
Yeah, like they swap
Yeah.
places in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, as Execution is the episode.
But this one's
One-
definitely more
Um,
like in your face, I think. I don't know what other
Yes.
episodes have probably like actually like quote unquote showed it.
Yeah, I don't offhandedly I can't think of any, but that doesn't mean that there's probably a Western episode out there that has it at some point. So there should have
Oh,
been
we
one
know
in
that.
Jezebel, but
Well, in
Should've been a
execution
lot
they
of things
like
in Jezebel.
have in execution they have like the platform that I know in like in olden times.
Yeah, the guy
Like
for
had
Chance of
as
Dream jump
like
out the window.
to like hang certain folks that were sentenced to death, but
yeah.
Kind of
they
a
didn't like show
personification of what I wanted to
anything.
do.
Aw.
Hey, you got your 2-foot window in Franklin episode. So what was I gonna say? I don't remember. Oh no, it's ironic that this episode takes place in 2021 and it's about 1991 is when they came to this planet. Because I every year that this 2020s goes by, the more and more I realize that the 1990s are 30 years ago. And this
Yeah.
episode doesn't fucking help anything, and I don't like it. It's like when E.T. turned 40 years old. I'm like, God damn it, you make me feel old. I feel
I
old.
realize that every day, Nick, because my wife was born in 1990.
Well, I mean,
I'm like, yeah,
at least she didn't start
Yay.
feeling old now
You're
that the
younger than me.
90s are 30 plus years old now. The worst part about it is like
33.
the like Batman and like there was okay, this is going off subject, but there was a YouTube video of a guy that was saying he basically made a video about names that are now of old people, and it was like Brian and Jeremy and John and Nicole and Tiffany, and it went on, and I'm like, these names are like,
Normal
I guess they
names.
are more than 30 years old. People are like in their 30s now. It's crazy to think about. And it's the same thing here. Like, this guy's been on this planet for 30 years, and imagine all the UA Bowl movies they've missed, and Batman the animated series. I mean,
A
they've
lot of
missed a
them.
lot. They missed a lot. They missed.
I mean, missed
Beyond
is
belief.
a way you could frame it that way, but I don't know if missed, maybe dodged.
Yeah,
eBay Bowl stuff.
Well, I mean,
dodged.
there's always good and bad, right?
True.
yeah.
That's
So-
With
yeah.
Uwe Bowl?
I'm just saying in general, Jacob. I'm not talking about you, evil.
Why not? Why
I
aren't you
think
talking
there's
about
some
you?
good-
I don't even know who that man is.
Many people would disagree with that.
I mean,
I mean, it's the
starter
internet,
jackets.
so
Yes.
I mean, they miss plumbers don't wear ties, and they miss Jacob's
again,
video on
dodge.
the PS3 and
Yep.
the GameCube, and
Missed that.
yeah.
I missed
No,
that because I haven't made one on the GameCube, so I'm
I know, I'm just joking.
It was
But,
Nick's seen into the future.
oh,
right.
gotcha.
But that's kind of like the weird ideology of this episode is like this guy he wants to go, but he kind of scared and afraid to go. But these people are like, I'm gonna go plant and have a farm, and Tribs give me the O face, and
What
Sorry.
just happened to Trip? She
I
dropped and
lost
went,
my my stupid avatar decided to drop
are
on
you-
me and I couldn't get it back up. That's what she said. I know.
I
Damn
just looked over, and Tribs like, I'm like, oh my god.
what?
But
What are
no,
you
she
insinuating?
was like a farm. What's a farm?
Well, I am from
I feel as
Iowa,
if
so
she's
farms get me
soliciting
off.
someone.
But no,
You have corn?
In all seriousness, though, these people want to they want to have a life, and this guy thinks that that they need to be together like a cult, like Hilly Bop comic cult. It's just like it's like you said, you gotta let the children loose. They gotta go off and make their mistakes, and when the colonel's like, you you're having them live in like a sterile environment and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, that's exactly what's happening, and it's scary, and it's what life is like. It shouldn't be contained in a test tube, and I don't know. I found it very meaningful. I thought the Colonel was like trying to get this guy to understand, that these people need to be let go. They need to go off and do their thing, and William is just like, no, we're gonna stay here. We're not going. Earth is full of violence and corruption and I don't know, bad pussy and stuff like that. So it's a bad place. It's just
Funny you
I don't
mentioned
Yeah.
that. I just
but no, I
downloaded it.
mean, Jesus.
But it does strike me as so weird. Like he's like, no, we're staying put. There would have been no life for them. Like they literally would have died because all their equipment was on its last legs to start with. Like he
They're
didn't
playing
think
baseball
beyond the
in
moment.
110-degree weather. It's like I don't know if the human body can resist. I don't know. I guess if you live in arid areas in the world, I guess you could survive in that hot temperature with like finding ways to survive. But it just feels like they need to go to a colder temperature. It's going to be amazing to watch these guys go into like a colder temperature when they've never had cold in their life. How difficult that's going to be for them. One person's like, I want to go to Wisconsin. I'm like, you really want to go to Wisconsin?
What's wrong with
can you?
Wisconsin? There's great cheese there.
It's so cold in Wisconsin. Like
It's
not
maybe
that
maybe
cold
maybe go to
there.
like
Not
maybe
year
go to, like,
round.
Tennessee. Well, no, I'm just saying, but they
Don't go to Tennessee.
are so excited about cold. I'm like, maybe go to like Tennessee, Kentucky, where it's cold, but it's not below freezing. It's not Tribs weather or that type of thing where it gets super balls ass cold or something like that.
Balls ass cold. Well, hey.
Yes.
There's
Balls
your
and
term
ass.
for the day, folks.
Exactly. I'm just saying, like,
Balls ass or
It-
balls out? Which one? How cold is it? Or how hot?
but I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that like ideology of like I don't know. What do you guys think?
I already stated my piece.
I'm not going to talk about my
Yeah.
piece, but he does have a point. I'll give him that. Like some of these people are like, I'm going to Oregon, ooh, and like Wisconsin and all that. It's like you've been on a planet that's like 180 degrees every day, and now you're gonna you probably will die. I honestly thought that this episode was gonna go one of two ways, and it kind of sort of went one way. I thought he was gonna kill the colonel and like blow up the ship, and then be like, "Oh, guys, sorry, shit happens," and like they're gonna get stuck. Or I thought it would have been really cool if they it played out more or less like it did, but he went back with them. And then they get there and maybe have like a time lapse where he goes and starts this little commune that he's wanting to do, but he's all by himself. And then the people like slowly start coming back to him because they're like, you were right. So like if it showed him as kind of being a bit of a nut job for a lot of the episode, and then in the end we find out, yeah, he probably was being a little bit of a nut job, but he was right. And they all come back. Some of them died of like, I don't know, dysentery.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're fjord in the river. Yeah, they left their oxen the fjord, the river, that type of
I think
thing.
that would have been pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, they do kind of talk about how, like, when they get back, it sounds like they have the support to be able to help them, climatize to everything. But
we're making it sound like they live in like the frontier times or something. Like they're gonna have to like walk.
I mean,
walk the Oregon Trail.
I mean, it did take them 6 months to get there. So I mean, who knows what happens in 6 months?
Well, they're a billion miles away, apparently.
Apparently, 6 months is all it takes to go a billion miles.
How far is a billion miles?
It's a billion miles.
Were you the one that's brought up? Were you the one that? Which episode were we talking about? Was it Third from the Sun?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, you're right. There was that
Were we
episode
talking
where it
about
was
the
like
distance
50,000
of-
miles, and it's like not even close to what it would actually be in real
Yeah,
numbers.
The real question is that spaceship? How stinky is that spaceship going to be after 6 months? Like,
Oh,
think about
God.
the waste and the
They have technology that takes care of that.
That is true.
I don't know. Maybe they're taking them to the planet of like, to
Soap
eat
and
people.
water.
Do you
Yeah,
think it'd
they're
be
taking the
funny if
planet
they
of
were
soap-
like? Do you think it'd be funny if they're like disguised aliens?
Oh my
Like it's
God.
kind of revealed that they're almost like the aliens from To Serve Man, where it's like, "Mwahaha, our dinner for the next 6 months."
Right.
Well, I
I
guess a
imagine the
billion
meat would be a
miles-
little bit tough at that point. They're all skinny and stuff.
I guess a billion miles
Um,
isn't that far because we have like Voyager 1 is 15 billion miles away right now. So
Yeah, but that's been rolling since 1980. Yeah.
Yeah, it reached interstellar space 11 billion miles from our sun in 2018. And apparently, they just fixed a problem that's on it from 15 billion
Oh,
miles away. I don't
sorry.
know. That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It does not tell me
Everything
what
is
is
a rabbit hole.
1 billion miles from here, though.
It's probably like Pluto, 'cause we don't recognize Pluto as a planet anymore.
R.I.P. Pluto.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
The fuck.
big
But
giant
Planet X is a
ice
planet.
ball.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Pygmy. Is
Another-
it?
Is Planet X still a thing?
I don't know.
I
Maybe.
think it would get a better name than Planet X.
I think Planet X sounds pretty baller.
I mean, it does, but it kind of doesn't fall in line with everything else. You know?
There
it's like
wasn't
giving
a Greek.
Xbox.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
Planet
it
Xbox.
sounds like a Greek god. Planet X, Greek god. for
You can
hire.
tell that
Well,
that's the
no.
planet that was named in this generation.
It's
Because
like
we have all
Bodie
these like
McBoatface.
Yeah. planet poop emoji or something. You know, what I mean, what have we become?
Planet
All
X
these
sounds
other
like a
eloquent names
B-grade
like
sci-fi movie.
Mercury and Venus and Mars. Planet X.
That's a
It's
50s thing,
what-
though.
It's
Yeah.
like
Planet X is gonna
Fucking-
give it to you.
Oh
a
gosh.
bunch of Mountain Dew drinkers named it.
Alex, you were gonna say something.
Oh, I was gonna say, that I guess another like idea I had along with the To Serve Man reference was I remembered in season 1 there was an episode I had to look at it because I forgot the name, but like in The Lonely, I mean the premise of the episode was that it was a convicted murderer who was sort of told, oh, your sentence is going to be on this asteroid, and you're pretty much just going to stay here for the next like 50 years. Which is a little different than like creating an entire civilization on a different planet. And I kind of felt like, I mean, we'll get to the end, but I thought it was kind of an interesting sort of thought I had where I was like, oh, I wonder if this episode could potentially be like almost a prequel to The Lonely, or like a circumstance like
stole
The
my
Lonely
line.
actually happening.
Yeah, you stole my line, Alex. I was gonna say that exact same thing. You're off the shock. You're off the pocket. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, yeah, it's like the sad thing though is like the guy literally gives them ultimatum is like, you come with us in 8 minutes or 8 hours, or you stay here alone. And the nature of like him staying there alone for the rest of his life it's like Castaway. It's just the most horrifying existence ever. And when he lives out that plea to, to come back and rescue him, it's like it's the ideology of like how demented and delusional this man has become. And it's scary shit to think about, to be fairly honest. I don't know, that's the best way to put it, but it's just the whole idea of just like people in cults and how they try to brainwash people, and then the people who get out are the ones that are trying to make it better for themselves, and the people that stay in are alone to themselves and self-sacrificing. I mean, he's never gonna have a robot to have relations with, as like in
Yep.
The Lonely, but
He just
at
has
least he
to
can talk to
cave,
himself in the
and
cave.
then
Yeah.
and then he's like, and then he can just think of all the people who were there before and be like, remember what I told you about Autumn JoJo? How the leaves change color, JoJo. And how it goes from fall to winter. Isn't that crazy?
Oh man, cold? What?
I know.
It's just like, I'm gone.
Seasons?
What's nighttime?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Tell me, all the fucking time you've been here, nobody's mentioned nighttime. You're like
They
8.
live in they live in the Alaska planets.
The
It's like
education
without the-
system on this planet sucks.
Well, it said that they actually like live like technically underground. Like their
Yeah.
homes are like kind of a little deeper into the planet. So I'm assuming in that way it makes the living conditions more tolerable along with having refrigeration.
They're refrigerated.
Well, okay, that's a whole different topic.
Jacob,
But
there is something good about this episode. There is no cell phones. He doesn't have a cell phone.
Well,
He has
there
to
were
live
no
without a cell
phones,
phone.
period, during that time. Or I guess it's 2021. Yes, I agree. No cell phones.
So
Everybody
that might
had
make
pagers
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
and
so
payphones.
is there no way of him like respond or like asking to have a ship come out to him
Shit.
again?
Yeah, we're
because
gonna
of
No.
how they
man a
like
$5
were able to
billion
be like, hey, we want to come back.
$5 billion rescue mission for one asshole who had a chance and decided, nah, I ain't doing that.
Well, if they
Yeah.
did multiple missions, right? Like if this was just the first one, and they maybe did other ones on other planets, like after
Scoop
like
this
post
guy up on your way by.
1991,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
maybe there could be that possibility, but he might also
Yeah,
have
I
just
mean, this
succumbed
isn't
to like
the-
being isolated or so his life.
It might be like a cold equation situation where they only have enough fuel to land on that one place and go
Hey,
back.
it didn't
So
stop
he's
the
just
crew
shit
from
out
the
of luck.
Maybe.
Martian from getting Mark Watney. So
You know what he needs to do is just stick out his thumb with this towel, and the Heart of Gold will come by and pick him up.
yeah,
Yeah,
he just needs to
maybe.
make a
A depressed robot.
Yeah.
But he's
Make a
been on this
I'd just
planet
gigantic,
like
for so
you to
long
know
by
that
himself.
I'm depressed.
A depressed robot. That's can I fuck this? I've been here a long time by myself. I don't care.
It's not going to help your self-esteem, but
It
okay.
has like a lube port or something, right?
It's got a big head too, not the sexy
Just remind-
kind.
That reminds
Sounds like
me of
Alan Rickman, but
the-
that's oddly turning
my
me on right
God.
now. Can I get in this?
That reminds me of robots. You know how like they introduce in the movie how when you have a child
Robots
in
is
that
dis-
world, you
the
have to
robots
like
is
build the
disturbing.
child through like its
Yeah.
growing up basically, and then
Wow.
have to
It's
adapt the
fucking-
parts over a
You
lifetime.
know the only
Crazy.
reason I watched that movie is so I could watch the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith trailer, and I watched that
Oh
movie.
my
And that
God.
movie horrified me.
You
Because
did.
the whole idea of like building your
Oh my
kid, it's like
God.
it's
I
like
took my daughter
AI
to see that
or
movie.
Bicentennial Man.
I love
Oh.
Bicentennial Man.
You're a
That's on my
sadist.
Plex on my watch list. I love that movie. I told my kids we're gonna watch it, and my wife. It is so
Any-
cheesy and so sappy, but I love it.
It's a
I
movie
saw it
where
in the
like
theater all by myself.
I really don't like movies that deal with like people dying and the one person lives forever. It's like it's so depressing.
He
That
doesn't
movie
live
depresses me.
forever.
Well,
In the end,
eventually he
he-
dies, but
Well,
7,000
he
years
makes
later.
them. Yeah, he meets the woman of his dreams or whatever it was. No,
Aw.
it's
Like a
like
kid at
his.
one point or some shit.
No, it's the woman he fell in love with when he was a robot or something like that. But it's like her great granddaughter. It looks just like her, and they get it
It's
together.
like
and
Dr. Manhattan, ain't it?
he makes the scientist like make him age and gives him like an expiration date so he'll die. It's super sappy.
All I
Yes,
can think
yes,
is
it
that
is.
Tex
The
Avery
jack of-
episode where like the two cars have a baby, and like the baby is like he's I guess maybe like a teen car, and he like trades out his taxi exterior for like a racer exterior. He's got like pipes and stuff under his hood, and he's all like
Cars
tricked
had a
out and stuff.
baby. I
I've
saw a
heard
movie
of
where a
that
car
one
had a baby.
before.
It's a Tex
That's
Avery
funny.
episode.
Saw a movie where a car had a baby. It was called like Titanium or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Titan.
Whatever. It's fucking
Titanium.
French or
T10.
some shit.
T10.
Fucking
But
crazy.
back to the episode, like once they decide, because we're gonna go in, we've already gone into weird tangenty places, and
Talking about cars
Anya,
fucking people.
If a car
Fucking
having a baby
robots.
wasn't on your Twilight or your Fifth Dimension
about-
podcast bingo card,
we talk about
Well,
rubber tire.
I
Catch
mean,
up.
there are robots, there's
Yeah.
sand, there's authoritarians. We're just missing a pod race. Is what I'm hearing.
and also the sand is coarse. I don't like it.
I hate sand.
It's
everywhere.
Coarse. Gets
It's in all
everywhere.
kinds of places. Gets in your cracks.
That it does.
Yeah, I can't
It
imagine
really
like
does though. Sand
taking
sucks.
shower. Like, can you imagine the colonel coming down from the plane or from the spaceship? He's had chances to take showers. He comes down and he smells these people. Once again, he's got to
It
smell these
smell
people
like
for
ass.
Imagine
years.
how bad that place smells.
Oof.
Just
Yeah.
like
There's 187 of them too, so that's oof.
BO.
And the toilet,
Feet
there's
and
like
corn
the
chips.
toilet system, so it's just like it's like the 1600s. They just throw it out in the middle of the road and wash it away eventually if it ever rains. They build mud huts out of poop. It's just
Hell, they have like metal
Poop
shanty thingies.
Maybe the meteor showers are almost like bath bombs. They like
No,
come
they-
down and then they make the aroma a certain scent. It's like, oh, it's oranges today. Let's
yeah,
hope for cherry blossoms in the next week. guys.
Yay!
yeah. They're just really scared of showers, so they just run away from the meteors bath soaps.
So why did that
Mm.
chick kill herself when she knew that help was coming. Like if she didn't know, I think that would have been ironic. It's like she hung herself,
Well,
and they're like, we just
She
got a
didn't believe.
communication,
Well, they didn't know exactly when
Right.
because they were even
but they knew
in the
they were
start of the
coming.
episode, they are like, "Oh, like, are we getting anything yet?" Kind of thing. Like, you know how like when you're on a road trip and it feels like it's forever, but you know, like you're eventually going to get to the destination, but you're like, it just feels so much longer, especially if like you're not given a sort of like definitive answer.
I
I
just
think
feel
that's
like
one of those things where it was like there was a certainty in a sense, but not fully.
it's been 30 years though, and now like somebody's on the way. I think you could hold out, whatever it was. I think you could figure it out. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know, I don't
almost
know what her
wondered
struggles were.
she could no longer be a robot. No, I kind of wonder like there was points of this episode where I was wondering if like what he was saying about
I
the
thought he was
ship
lying.
coming was just his. What's that?
I thought he was
a lie. Yeah,
lying.
it
I
was.
thought he was trying to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
build morale or something.
Yeah, and they've been like thinking about when's the ship coming? When's the ship coming? It's like when are we gonna get to the fireworks factory? And it never comes. And yeah, but no, the ship comes and they all celebrate like the end of Return of the Jedi, and then of course Force Awakens happens and everything goes to shit.
No, it's The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Where it's like,
Hey, whoa,
all
whoa,
right.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Whoa,
whoa,
whoa.
whoa.
Oh
I am
no.
a staunch defender of The Last Jedi. Thank you very much. Except for the
Rise of
Okay,
the Canto Bite scene.
okay, we can agree there are some good scenes in episode 8.
Oh, there's
But,
many good
like,
scenes.
But like I understand why it's divisive,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, go for Frank Oz's Yoda again talking to Luke Skywalker. That's the one scene.
Overall, I like that
genuinely
movie. It's got
most
some
like
action.
I know. But like episode 9 and then like portions of episode 8 just went over my head. And I was like, what did I watch?
9
But
went
okay.
over the filmmakers' heads.
Yeah.
9 was terrible. 8,
Like truly, I don't remember
That's
shit
some
from
good stuff.
episode 9. Watched it once and I was like, what did I watch?
They
Like,
force
did I
heal.
consume anything? I was like, I don't think so. I don't know.
Oh, we can't hear you, Nick.
It's okay.
It's just maybe it's because I didn't watch episode 9 on a Thursday. And that's what that is.
It can be an issue. There's no doubt.
It'll be.
I know. If I don't
think
watch
it'll be
movies on
very
Thursdays,
forgettable.
then it's like, do I remember anything? No, probably
On,
not.
on Thursday we leave for Last Jedi.
Yep.
Thursday we
Ooh.
leave for the piano in the house.
I might have to rain check on that one.
Holy
actually,
balls.
I forgot I had something going on.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Oh, actually, I almost forgot. Okay, this is also totally off subject, but it's relevant to the episode.
Yay.
But did you know, I messages to Triv as I was watching the episode for this, and I was like, hey, I'm watching the episode right now, and I noticed that there's a boom mic that was too
Yeah.
obvious for me to
In the
share.
beginning.
Yes, and it's in the bottom right when they're in the cave. It's
Yeah.
looking up the wires.
When he's talking about like turning off the water or whatever.
It was like turning I think it was like shutting down the like water supply for them to have like, I don't know, the AC in the bunkers or whatever. And then the whole time it's just this little mic. Like imagine the mic is my phone. The whole time they're like, so what do we do about the wires? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, I don't even know what's going on. And I was looking at it, I was like, wait a minute.
They couldn't crop images back in the day. Whatever they shot, that's
Yeah.
just what they got.
But it just made me laugh because I was like, imagine if this was
bullshit,
like a mockumentary where it's like you're just in the middle of fucking space and you're like, guys, I'm on my last legs. I don't want to be here anymore."
Actually, there's
Yeah.
this is a little bit off subject too, but there's an Anchorman. When they do like during the credit sequence, there's a gate that goes over a projector which blocks out like if you want to do like the scope version, which is like what Dune is like, and then or if you want to do like Jurassic Park, which is like the flat version, which is squared.
Mhm.
In Anchorman, if you remove this gate, which is the plate, it actually shows the scene, and you actually see the boom mic as they're walking forward, and it actually cuts out when you put the little metal gate in there, which I thought was kind of funny.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
Yeah, yeah, you can imagine like if they actually, it's like the coffee cup in Game of Thrones. It's like, did you
Mhm.
not see that? You not see that? The camera's
Well, I know there was,
camera's like this big,
Yeah. Well, I know too, there was some big like aerial view shot, and I think it was The Last of Us that people caught where it was like going over, I think it was like some bridge. And then you can see
Yeah.
to the left, like very obviously that there was like the film crew, like tents and shit there. And then people were like, how did they not notice that or try to like remove it with digital effects or anything? And I was
Right.
like, damn, like I don't know. I guess if you go over it so many times, maybe you just don't notice it. But I mean, even when I like rewatched it, I was like, there's no fucking way there's a boom like in the middle of like this fucking planet. I was like, what the hell? Oh, it was
Well, that's
just
like
crazy to me.
if you ever watch Fight Club, there's so Meatloaf plays Bob. So he wears like a fat suit. And there's a shot where they're walking away. I think it's during like there's a catering scene. And you see like I think it's Brad Pitt in the foreground, but then in the background you see Meatloaf trying to get the pants up of the fat suit or over the fat suit. But it must have been like their best take or something. It's so clearly right there that he's like trying to pull up his pants over this fat suit.
Mhm.
It's
I
crazy.
mean, that movie's where I learned about cigarette burns when it comes
Well, there you
to
go.
splicing reels, which is a actual thing. Cigarette burns are an actual thing.
Oh, I bet.
And print. Jacobs, you know that too, I
I
think.
do.
You know, I have to say they must have fired their sound people because the sound was all over the place in this
It was
episode.
an echo,
Between
Nick. It was realistic.
Ooh.
well, there was echo, but when they would do close-up shots, it wasn't echoing anymore. And then
It's because the camera
Uh,
was closer. It wasn't picking up the echo and the reverb. Or yeah, that's
is that
how
what it was?
sound works.
Is it?
100%.
Get up off these
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah. Get off the
Son
sound nuts,
said-
gosh.
Back off my nuts, Nick.
The sound guy in his grave is rolling over from me making fun of them getting fired from the I mean, at least they tried to make it sound like echoing. It was not very well done, but it's the best they could do in the 60s, I'm sure. Today it'd be like, they'd probably
the
use
best-
like Kanye
best
West
they can do.
reverb or some shit.
Auto-tuned. They'd all be auto-tuned.
Yeah,
It's like T-Pain
right.
down in the cave.
But I don't know. I mean,
We have
the
no water.
episode like
Oh no.
but the episode basically just has the colonel and captain just arguing back and forth about, should they stay, shouldn't they stay? Why would we want to leave
Should
this
I
place?
go
The
or
Earth is
should I
bad.
stay?
Yep,
Um,
basically.
the people getting wise,
Should
the
I go
gangsters.
now?
What else? Is there anything else in this episode that you guys want to bring up? I mean,
Apparently, baseball is the universal language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge now.
yeah,
it's
it's
so
no
huge.
longer math, it's baseball.
Yep.
Baseball. If they only knew about basketball, it's all right.
Foosball.
Foosball. Exactly.
I was gonna comment on how in the episode when pretty much during that scene when they were burying the woman who did pretty much commit suicide,
Mhm.
how there was sort of I guess a conversation surrounding, well, I think it's predominantly Christianity, but also like religious practice that I think came into play, which has been like touched upon obviously of episodes like The Obsolete Man. But I thought it was kind of interesting how they very briefly touched upon how they're like, hey, like, Lord, please forgive her for doing this and taking her own life. And then he had the guy which pretty much like stands up to sort of this leader and is like, hey, like, she has been miserable, and it's like, trying to look at it with a more, I guess, nuanced take than just seeing it as like, being like, oh, like she was miserable probably, and like we don't know what she was going through in that way. And then it kind of ends with the leader pretty much like lassoing kind of the rest of the group and saying like, it's like, let's just pray over like us having the ship come down before, and that's before like the meteor shower kind of happens. But I thought that was kind of interesting. That along with how they referred to the spaceship that came down to get them as sort of the Messiah, and how they looked at it as more of like, oh, like we've been like hoping and praying for this to happen sort of thing. But then, again, because it's like, this is because of there being that challenge of power when, these men come down and they try to grab whoever, the 187 men, women, and children they have to bring back, when there is that sort of like tension there, that ultimatum or that vote between the communities. Hey, like, do you see this man as a messiah? Like, do you see this person as being someone that you can continue to, quote unquote, like follow and see in this light? Or, do you believe what I'm saying about living on Earth where, you have your own autonomy, you can live wherever you want on Earth once we land there, kind of do what you want with your life. And you can make your own decisions and be your own individual versus being intertwined with this community where everything is said and done for you, kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, we played along like the conversation of there being cults. Not every, I guess. I mean, there's always like the extremists who kind of navigate towards, I guess, sort of that cult territory, but it definitely depends, and that's a whole other topic. But I just thought it was kind of interesting how they touched upon religion, even though it wasn't like a super big theme, I would say, in that episode, versus like, kind of that like that struggle or like refusal to change versus, and like I would say like the idea of changing as well as like, following the leader, so to say. I think those are kind of larger themes in the episode over that.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It just like it hits on so many ideas when it comes to people who overstep their bounds and think they have control, and clearly they don't. I don't know. Once again, it's to me, it's just a very dark episode when it comes to like the things it's portraying. It's not like dark like Nightmare as a Child or Death Camp Revisited or whatever. Death has Revisited, but it definitely has its moments where it's just like, man, I guess you're gonna go there. And once again, I feel bad for James Whitmore's character at the end because I think he realizes that he's nothing without his people, and he'll always be lost, even when he tries to be found. And all he needs to do is erect a gigantic banner, and somebody in space will hopefully see it, like the Great Wall of China or something.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I forget that his name is Captain Benteen.
Mm-hmm.
Benty.
I don't know why. It
No,
was so
that's
much
okay.
easier to be like James like to go for his name
Yeah.
being James versus like Benteen. I think just because
Right.
kind of what you were going off of with the names, Nick, where it's like it's just one of those names where you hear even something like that, or a surname, I should say, that you like hear in the Twilight Zone, and you're like, I don't think I've ever heard of this, but it's just because you don't often, I guess, see it being used, or you meet someone every like 1 in a million where it's like, oh yeah, my last name's Benteen, and I'm like, Benteen? Like, what's the ordinance of that?
Dentine.
like
but-
horse,
Yeah.
horse, of
What was
course.
the name of that? The name of the kid,
Jojo.
Jacob, Percy
Jojo.
something or another.
Percival
Not in this.
Smithers.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about like the
first-
little kid?
No. There was another character from a different episode that was Percival Smithers, and that's kind of
His
like
front
it's
name.
like
wow.
Bentine. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that sounds familiar. I don't remember what the episode was.
Is a
Santa Claus.
yeah.
Yeah, Colonel Sloan was
n-
it was pretty much like Colonel Sloan versus Captain Benteen. Which I think also too with their names, there is that kind of, I guess even that can be like, well, you're just, I mean, you could argue that almost where Captain Benteen is coming from it being like, well, I'm the captain versus you being only a colonel kind of thing. I think that
He's
could
like,
also
I'm the
be-
captain of this ship.
I'm the
Yeah,
I'm
I
the
think that
captain
can also
now.
be
Fucking
brought up
tank.
where it's like that almost like doesn't where I mean as the colonel says it's like, it's like that doesn't really matter. Like it matters in the context of it being a mission, but those in the community aren't a part of the mission in the same way that those in charge are
Right.
also.
The rank doesn't translate between what Sloan is and what Bentine is.
Right. But it's like even in their conversations, it's you can kind of tell that Benteen is really trying to, I guess, be like, oh yeah, like, we know what this is like, and like you understand where I'm coming from and stuff. And Sloanus be like, yeah, it's like, I know, but it's like, this has nothing to do with your people. Like these aren't your people anyway, but it's like this has nothing to do with everyone you've kind of led up to this point. Like this is everything to do with just a mission being completed. And once that's pretty much completed, it's obsolete.
Very
I'm
true.
kind of curious about the people when they're traveling away to planet Earth. Do they think about this captain, or do they just kind of forget about him as they move along, and they're just like, maybe it was for the best? That's the kind of sad part, is like all the people that followed him for 30 years or whatever, and they're like, hey, we're going off to strip clubs and Vegas and COVID-19, yay, COVID. And
Well, I'm
I
sure
don't
there's
know.
like a
Somebody would've
grieving
stayed,
process with
but
it.
I kind
Yeah.
of I get why nobody did.
Well,
I
and
mean,
then
There'd be at
here's
least
the
one out of
Yeah.
187 though that would be like, yes, I'm staying with the captain.
It's like the Jerry Maguire going with him.
But I think when you look at this, like there was nothing to hold them on the planet. Like, yeah, you've got
Mhm.
Benteen there, you don't leave your captain behind, but like everything was breaking down. The resources were coming to an end. It was such a miserable place.
hmm
Someone throws you a lifeline, what do you do?
But it's also one of those things too where, I mean, I guess this is sort of like separate from the conversation of the episode, but it's almost like that kind of sentiment of, oh, are you individually willing to be the proponent of change, or are you just going to wait around for what you want to have happen to you? Kind of thing. It's like, are you going to
Yeah.
chase your dreams, or are you just going to wait for them to happen? Kind of thing too, where it's like, if you want something better to happen and it's, literally on a silver platter for these people, I mean, why not take that opportunity to at least, see what Earth is like, where it's like,
Yeah.
even if it's shitty, it may not be as shitty as this planet. Kind of
It
There's-
thing.
definitely will not be. There'll be something better. That place was a shithole.
Yeah. There's a
Essentially.
choice, but there's no choice, really.
Yeah, but we also don't really know what we don't really know what the larger idea or perception of 2021 was back in like 1963,
True.
according to them either. Because
Dodgers were
even
pimp.
because even in a lot of sci-fi, it's like, if Back to the Future comes to mind, just because, they've fast forwarded from like, I think it was like 1985 to 2015.
Yep.
Yep.
And then when 2015 happened, they were like, oh, a lot of the shit they like brought
got
up
all
in
that.
the movie was cool, but it's like, well, not every.
I
We don't have flying
I'm
cars
disap-
yet, Jacob. Is where I'm getting
I'm-
at. Where it's
Flying
like,
cars make no sense.
I'm
What's
disappointed
a
that we
flying
don't
car
have
accident like?
this crashing things.
Raining from the sky.
The French.
The flying cars.
No, I'm just disappointed that 2015 happened and we got no chicks in like fluorescent colored spandex and riding bicycles in the middle of a cafe while Michael Jackson plays in the background.
Where have you
I mean,
been?
there
We
are-
definitely have that.
I mean, there are unique
Do we?
cafes. Like cafes are kind of a
Yeah.
big thing. I know in like places like Japan and Korea, like you'll hear of
We don't have
like,
self-tying shoes
different
yet.
like themed cafes to different things.
I mean, we
Though.
have
Like the
Velcro
clothes
shoes,
that
so
fit to your body, like one size
self-drying
fits all.
clothes.
They
You
go,
mean, like
"Ooh."
Skims.
I mean, I've been trying to get the whole inside out pockets thing to catch on again, but it's just not happening.
No,
Oh, look,
Someday,
clearly
Maya.
it's not.
That's some pussy,
Um,
Nick.
Thank you. Thank you. You can tell he's hungry.
Aw.
Your
I don't
pussy's
know.
hungry.
But
Aw.
once again, they leave, they give him the ultimatum, they even go into the cave and he hides like, I don't know, like a scared wuss and leaves. He's like, don't leave me. I want to go with you. Take me home. And he's left
Country
behind by
roads.
himself.
To
Yeah.
a
It was giving,
place.
it
right
was giving
below.
Phantom of the Opera a little bit. 'Cause he was like he was above everybody else.
Would it have
Right,
been as
right.
depressing had it just ended with him sitting in the cave talking to nobody?
hmm
Yeah, I think it would have been. You heard the noises in the background, the ship
Do you
taking
think
off.
it was
Like I think it would
needed for him to like suddenly be like, "No, don't leave me immediately," because I would have come to
to make you feel sad for him. Yeah,
I
I
would have
think
come
you
to
feel
the
less sad
conclusion
for him.
he'd eventually get there after being alone all
But-
that time. You're gonna regret this, buddy.
Yeah.
But just think of the long ass beard he can grow. You can just take poop everywhere. You can what?
Sorry. He's just so
Yeah.
cute.
Oh, he's hungry. He's staring at me because he wants food.
Aw.
He's like, do these people have food?
Poor
And
cat
they
is
had
just
cheeseburger.
like he can't meow anymore. It's so bad. Anyways, but with that said, that's kind of where the episode leads off. It's kind of the end for him, and he can grow a beard and become, Tom Hanks from Castaway or something. He's the captain.
Only he doesn't
now,
have a
so.
Wilson.
I mean, he has a
It's like Celine
dying
Dion.
refrigerator, so I mean, it's possible. But
True.
anyways, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about with the episode? Anything you want to bring up that we didn't talk about?
I'm good.
I liked it.
Alex just gives the thumbs up. Just for your audio folks, Alex gave the thumbs up. So
Yay.
sometimes I
Well, I
forget
was
that
about
like
to say
like,
something, and then I was like, I don't know what to say, so I'll just.
no,
It means I need more Red Bull.
No, I keep forgetting sometimes. Like we talking, and I'll forget to mention that we're on audio feeds as well. So I think I forgot about that long way time ago.
That's
So
okay.
I forget sometimes to commentate on some of our things. But where was I going with that?
Closing narration.
Yeah, closing narration. Guy escapes living on a world by himself, full of fast soap meteors and poop everywhere. And Jacob, closing narration.
Yeah.
I'll make it as
Got
awkward as
it.
possible.
Make it what?
Make it as awkward as possible.
As awkward as possible? How do I verbally make it awkward? William Benton, who had prerogatives. He could lead. He could direct, dictate, judge, legislate. It became a habit, then a pattern, and finally a necessity. William Benton, once a god, now a population of one. It's the best I got for like uncomfortable or whatever.
He's all by
There's not a lot of
himself.
Yeah.
And he wants to be.
there's not a lot of prerogative or provocative lingo in that.
I mean, he always wanted to be a man of the people. Now he can be a man of himself. So,
Yep.
alone and by himself.
I hope they left behind some oil or
Sand. He
lubricant.
can use sand.
Oh. Oh God. That poor man. He can use all the sweat.
Right. I mean, they left a bunch of shit around because they can only take so much on the ship. So at least he'll have, clothes to wipe his ass with, that type
Yeah.
of thing. But
Oh, well, that's
Triv,
good.
Yes. Yes.
where's this rank on your
So it's
things?
actually kind of interesting. So with IMDb, it ranked at 31.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's
It
kinda
was a lot
high.
of it was a lot of there were a couple of 7s, but mainly 8s, 9s, and 10s. But on Paste it was 110.
The fuck? Fuck you, Paste. You got
This
dumbass
somber
name.
examination of absolute power corrupting absolutely enjoys some solid directing and a morally complex and relatable lead performance by James Whitmore. But we get the key to the tale 20 minutes in, and then have to sit through 35 minutes of repetitive filler, reaching the anticlimactic finale. It's about the
think they
leader
would-
of a group of people on a desolate planet not wanting to be saved because he wanted to hold out for power. Serling's script is
That is-
devoid of tension.
That's
Since a
not
leader,
all.
I know.
Do you think
this-
that they never watched, I don't know, last week's episode, Force Forward, or
Well, that's
I
pretty
think of
low
Clifferville?
too. But yeah, it gets it goes
Talk about
weird places
repetition.
with it. Yeah, it's
I feel like they
there's
missed the point.
reasons. Yeah, there's reasons it goes and does what it does.
I personally thought
But
this
they missed the
episode went,
nuances.
yeah,
I thought
would
this
agree.
episode actually moved pretty nicely. Like for an hour-long episode, I think you can probably shave like a few minutes off here or there, but it's not like anything really noticeable. I think
Yeah.
you
I thought they did
know,
great with the time. I mean, I was never
yeah.
bored. It didn't feel like it was being repetitious.
This is one of the
I'm-
episodes that I feel fits well in season 4,
Yeah.
It does.
comparative
It
to like
did. It used their time
Horse
wisely.
Ward.
That's not much
You
of a
know,
comparison.
Clifferville, Jezebel.
Hey.
Who else?
One of the things that was said on IMDb was that it was the best episode of season 4, or one of the top couple at least.
I think certain people on this podcast would disagree with that. I mean, it's not
Mm.
the.
I think
I
it's
don't
definitely
think
one
it's
of the. It's up there. I think it was a really good episode.
I can
really
see
liked
that, but like
the nuances.
it's not
of it.
my like. I don't know.
What about Death Ship and Miniature and
I did like those. I really did like those. Like I said, I don't know if it's the best of
He's
the
Alive?
season, but I did enjoy this one a lot.
Yeah,
I
same.
really did enjoy the nuances of this episode. How it didn't stories like this are so often just kind of power corrupts, where it's like they're just his character had a lot more nuance than it usually would, because it would usually just be, oh no, I can't let go of my people, I'm in control, and he would really play into that, and that's it. He'd be so one note, but no, it wasn't that. Yes, it was that, but it wasn't conscious. He wasn't doing it selfishly. He was doing it because he thought it was what was best for them, and it showed how it slowly it evolved from there. As he unraveled, you started to see more of what was going on. In the beginning, like I said, he's the good guy. You think, oh, you're on board with him. And then as he unravels, you're like, you're kind of losing me. But it wasn't just like right out the gate. He's just like all powerful and he knows it. Took
Yeah.
time. I thought that they did that really well. I liked that about the episode the most.
I would agree. I think it was solid.
solid? Where it ranks? Let's find out on the last segment of our podcast, the Twilight Zone ranking list. The greatest ranking list thought by one man alone on a planet with poop meteor showers and Rod Serling's Rod Serling's arms crossed and sitting very prim and proper. I don't know. Okay, so I sent you guys the list. You should have it in the chat.
Yep.
I think.
So I only have the first 80
You
on the
don't
list. I don't know if that's right.
No,
for anybody
wait,
else.
wait, seriously?
Yeah, so you sent 3, right? So I got
Yeah.
1 to 40, and then 41 to 80, and then 41 to 80.
What the fuck?
I mean, I don't think
Oh,
honestly.
I
need
know.
80
I know
plus.
what
Do
I
we
did.
need 80 plus?
I don't think we need 80 plus.
I'm gonna send it to you anyways, you sons of bitches.
You sent 41 to 80 twice.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because
No,
I got it
I
twice.
sent 1 through. Did I? Oh, I sent.
I got
I said
41
1
to
through
80
1
twice.
through
That
40
was the
twice.
whole point of my bit, was to say, oh, I got it twice. Jacob. I'm sorry to state it for you. Anyway.
All right. See,
I'll say it for him.
I
Just send
deleted.
it twice.
It's okay.
Okay. So.
So abused here.
I would put this starting. We'll start with episode like number 50 at 2.
Number
You tell me if
50.
it wants it below or above that. I know Jerry Jacob stands, but
50? Yeah, I definitely think it's better than 50.
I would say it's
Yeah,
definitely
it's-
better than Quality of Mercy, Kick the Can.
I'm just starting. That was just a starting point.
No, I
is
know,
it
I know.
Better than like the new. Is it better than the new exhibit?
Where is the new exhibit?
I'm down in the low
Uh,
30s. I'm looking there right now.
Number 36.
Yeah, that's the new exhibit is right above Perchance.
I think this had better pacing than the new exhibit. And I like the new exhibit, but I think that this had
Mhm.
not that new exhibit had bad pacing, but I thought the pacing here was really good. I never once was like, okay, come on, guys. But I just thought the pacing was really good on it.
Yeah. I don't know that I would put it above a game of pool, but I would put it right around that.
Yeah, Game of Pool is like seminal to me. I really like
Oh
that
no,
episode.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I liked
Game
it
of
more
Pool
than
was
the
Jacob
other
Jacob
one.
didn't like it.
I feel like I need to rewatch that episode because I was here for
I just
that.
remember
You
you not
have to
being real
rewatch a
big on
bunch of
it.
episodes.
I wasn't.
You
I
know?
didn't
We gotta
dislike.
start starting with Perchance to Dream.
Yeah. If we rewatch it, we are re-reviewing it. I didn't I didn't dislike a Game of Pool from what I remember, but I do remember not being as enamored by it as you guys. You guys were like really high on it, and I was just kind of like, I mean, yeah, it was good, but maybe I missed something there. Different strokes. Speaking of strokes, this guy's gonna be doing a lot of stroking all by himself.
Takes you a lot of balls to say you didn't like that episode as much as the 3 of us, but
Yay.
you're
Game of
so
Pool?
brave.
I didn't think it was bad.
So
I know you
so
said that.
So bold and brave and
Are you
bold.
calling Jacob Chewbacca?
I just thought it'd be funny to
So
say you
brave?
had balls to do that.
You thought it would be funny to say I had balls.
No, you didn't even. No. I said okay. I specifically
episode's
made
going
sure to
places.
say that you had balls to say that opinion. That is different.
That I do.
The statement you gave was obvious, Captain Obvious. I mean, honestly, I see this above the dummy for
Me
sure.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't. I like the idea behind the dummy, but its execution was a little off here or there. I didn't hate the episode,
Mhm.
but I think this is better than. I'd rather watch this than the dummy. But I mean, like I said, I don't dislike a game of pool. I understand you guys have quite the affinity for it, so I'm fine. Because I mean, after that, what do I got here? What I got? Is there anything that I'm just like offended by? Let's see. A game of pool. People were like all over. I don't remember that. One for the Angels.
Third
Yeah.
episode in.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
The Man in the Bottle. Is that the one in the Is that the genie in the lamp in the antique shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was season 2.
Yeah, that was a fun episode, but I'd be okay with watching that episode over this one, I guess.
Okay, here's a random question. Is this better than Time Enough at Last?
Yes.
I think so. I think it's better than that one I was just talking about, but I'm not offended by it being under it.
Hmm.
Time Enough at
I
Last
like
is one
it.
of those episodes where, you know how like they tend to compile like the classics. You know what I mean? Like they like sometimes, I don't know, for like Disney movies, for example, they'll like categorize things like
Mhm.
that. Like I feel like that Time Enough at Last is one of those episodes where it would be, place in that just because of how like recognizable it is as the Twilight Zone. But I'd
Absolutely.
say
It's
that
the
like,
ending.
Yeah.
it's really the ending for me that I think cements it as being a very well done episode.
I mean, you could put this
It's
episode
not
right
my
there
favorite
with
with
it
Burgess
because
Meredith though. But
no, but you could put this right there with it because of like they're both depressing endings. This guy loses glasses, can't read. This guy is alone with his thoughts and whatever else he
Well, I
does
think
in
with
his spare
that,
time.
well, kind of like you said too, Nick, like in Time Enough at Last, like the twist of the episode is that he is kind of like the last man standing amidst sort
Yeah.
of like the shitty life that he has. And then once he feels that like he can maybe enjoy, like reading, then it's like, well, I can't even see.
Exactly.
But it's also one of those where it's like it's kind of a somber ending, but I feel like I don't know, I mean having the payoff in Time Enough at Last is like iconic in its own right, but I feel like this episode executed that just a little better because of what it established before. And I felt like some of the other characters around Burgess Meredith's in Time Enough at Last just weren't as like
Compelling.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like this, like they were kind of just sort of like I don't know.
I'll tell
The
you what
one
it
word I
is.
came out was like
They're all
quirky
like
or like
I'll tell you
they
what
they
it
like
were all
were kind of
assholes,
non
basically.
yeah, they were like not intolerable in a way where I was like, I don't know how I feel about it.
Time
I-
Enough
I-
at Last was
But at the very
very
least the characters in here, like even with Benteen, it's like Benteen was like, for the most part was like, I was able to understand where the performance was coming from at the very least compared to like Cliffordville. It was like so over the top. And I feel like Time Enough at Last was like it almost was kind of surreal as far as the
It's
performances.
fanciful.
Like they were like
Yeah.
like they're more fantastical. Like they weren't very like
the end of Time
grounded
Enough.
in reality in a
Well,
way.
Time Enough at Last ending, the twist was the star of the show.
Mhm.
Not just what the twist was, but the fact that it was a twist and it was like, oh, damn, and then it's over. This one,
Mhm.
it's not really a twist that he suddenly wants to go. I think everybody assumes that eventually, man, you're going to want off of there. It's the subtle, or not subtle, it's the realization that, oh, now you're seeing him realize, oh, shit, I don't want to be here. Wait, get me. And there's nothing he can do. He's stuck.
Mhm.
He's there. It is like the hard hitting fact that you are now alone for the rest of your life on a strange planet all by yourself. And there's
Based on one
absolutely
decision.
nothing you can do. Yeah. Based on some ideology you just couldn't let go and you're stuck. And that like really hits harder and sits and is a bit more, it's the future. Well, the future then. So it's a more realistic take. Time Enough at Last was a, like I said, you alluded to, more fanciful. It's kind of it was fantasy, and then in the end, it was just like this big, bam, ironic twist of fate. This one's not really so much an ironic twist of fate. It's just, damn, that sucks.
Mhm.
So I feel like it hits harder because it is a bit more realistic in its approach.
Yeah.
So
And
new
you
number
had the time to get to
29 then.
know that. I mean, well, Burgess Meredith's character, you understood. Oh, that sucks. You've been wanting, all you've wanted to do is read. Now you have all the time you need to read. You never had time before, but you can't see. That sucks. But his character, you didn't really know much about him. I mean, you didn't know, you knew about it. You didn't know the character. You didn't feel like you kind of knew that character, including all the other characters in the episode. He was very one note, wanted to read. That's it. This Ben 10's character, you kind of get to know, and like Alex said, you can connect with him on some levels. Some levels not so much. Some levels like, okay, you've lost it.
Mhm.
But you can connect with him and understand where he's coming from and the what's going on with this guy. He's not a bad guy. I think he's just been stuck in this spot for so long and he's having a difficult time with the change.
What's that quote
Yeah,
where
I
it's like,
think-
I'm not a bad guy, but I'm a bad guy. I don't remember where it was, but like when you were saying that, I was like, I couldn't help but think about it. But yeah, I definitely don't see this episode above The Howling Man for sure. I think somewhere in the 30s would be good. I'd be okay with wherever kind of in that
I would
30
put this like
slot.
right below He's Alive, right above Howling Man.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
love Howling Man, but
Explain.
I think I love Howling Man. It's like one of my favorite episodes, but like when we look at like Twilight Zone when it does things well, I think this does it better. And the thing that bothers me about Time Enough at Last is like you have this guy who clearly is placed into a situation where he's never gonna be able to find another pair of glasses anywhere. It's just like so one dimensional, one and very rote, and the whole suicide thing really kind of pisses me off a little bit. But
Time of
I
It
think
Last
there's
is kind of boring up until the last 8 to 10 minutes.
I don't know if it's
honestly.
boring. I just
Well,
have problems with
slow.
like the decision making of this guy who it gives up on everything because and then the ending is the only thing that kind of like redeems that episode in a form. The Howling Man is good, but I just think that the Howling Man is once again like Time Enough at Last. It's hinged upon like that concept of like how the ending plays out more than the story in its own right. And I think this episode actually does it better, where it doesn't hinge on the ending. It just hinges on the choices that these people make and how it eventually concludes. And I don't think the Howling Man does it as successful. This doesn't take away from the Howling Man not being a
I would
fantastic
say,
episode.
I would argue visually as far as like cinematography
Oh yeah,
and
it's
how
way
they deliver
better.
the story in
Yeah.
The Howling Man. Howling Man definitely overtops
I mean, I'm not
um,
gonna complain
on
either
Thursday We Leave
way.
for Home, only because I feel
Yeah.
like this episode, as far as like the shots, they very much were like, for the most part, they were pretty like straight on.
Basically.
And like it was sort of, yeah, it was pretty much like stayed at like, the kind of basic kind of like,
They couldn't keep the boom mic out of
one
the
shot, then the next cut to the next shot kind of thing. Like, except for like the meteor shower a little bit. But
Even
like,
there was nothing really truly
otherwise,
creative about the cinematography.
yeah, it wasn't like
of this
visually like
episode.
interesting, but I think that has more to do with like the environment they chose and sort of, doing what they can with like what they can. I don't know, doing what they can as far as like shooting it. But I feel like with the Howling Man, with the environment and then like how they executed the story and how they brought forth, the devil in that sort of way, like it's hard for me to like put this episode above the Howling Man in that regard, because I feel like the Howling Man did such a good job at like giving a really interesting characters to follow leading up to the end, that like it's hard for me to think of like this episode being like the one that takes that spot.
That is a good point. The Howling Man is it has that uniqueness to it, and Triv's favorite piece of prop is in that episode too. So the 2-inch
And that's
whatever
also
that-
another episode too that could be argued as being like very iconic or like kind of classic to the Twilight Zone that I've heard referenced
that
quite a lot
ending's
too.
pretty iconic. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
So you guys go with it being number 30? I know Jacob's 100% ecstatic for moving a
I'm
certain
alright with
episode
it.
down.
Mhm.
No, I mean it's deserved because once again, it is like the Howling Man's a good episode. On Thursday We Leave for Home was obviously a good episode. So
Mhm.
it just has some flaws when it comes to, like you guys said, the camera
Yeah.
work and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Trev, you good with that as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Sweet. So with that said, new number 30 on Thursday We Leave for Home, which leaves number 1 still Eye of the Beholder. Do we think Eye of the Beholder is ever going to be replaced? Is there an episode in the rest of 4th season or 5th season that's going to take over?
The
There could
Invaders.
be.
I mean, like
I mean,
honestly,
if there were episodes revisited, I can see the list changing and maybe a different number one being there.
The
But
Invaders.
if it's well, but if we're just sticking with like what we have for the rest of the series, I do actually think there's one that can actually be in that top spot. I don't know if it'll take Eye of the Beholder, but
that
I do
episode's
have
not
one
even
in mind.
jockey.
No. It's
Bewitching Pool.
Yes.
no.
The mask could
It's- that's really funny. That's definitely, not me.
Living Doll. You think about Living Doll, aren't you?
Oh God, that one is a good, like one of the solid episodes. And okay, an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge.
The
I
one that he bought
truly
them.
do. That's like truly like one of the best episodes, and it's
Yeah.
very unique for when you get to the episode. We'll maybe talk about it if I'm on, but
Yeah.
If you know,
that
you know.
episode, that episode's so unique in so many ways as far as it adapting that original story, which I actually like read when I was in film school and everything. To watch to coincide with like watching the episode. And that's how I kind of found out about it before I even like watched the Twilight Zone. But like, I mean, truly that
Yeah.
episode is like so good. Like
Yeah,
that one
it's,
for
it's
sure is
unique.
like, that one for sure has to be like, at the very least on this list, I can see it being like definitely top 10.
Right.
I'd even argue maybe even top 5 for how it tells it.
I mean, you're pretty much like our fourth chair now, so you definitely have that ability to persuade us in that.
I have so much power.
Unlimited power.
No.
Speaking of last place, 118 is the Trouble with Templeton. Come on, guys.
95 is a piano in.
Nope.
It's
You're wrong.
96.
I promised I wouldn't do it.
Is a
96.
piano in.
I promised I wouldn't do it.
Damn it.
The
I know.
house.
Yay!
Jacob having orgasms.
See,
every
I
time
beat
he
him
does
to
that.
it, so
Yay.
you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. At least Alex knows when to keep it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Next week, episode 17, the penultimate episode of season 4, is called Passage of Lady Anne. It's directed by Lamont Johnson. It is the last official episode that is not considered ghost written by Charles Beaumont. Really sick at the time. It's based off a story that he wrote. Really sad. Charles Beaumont, I think, died not long after this. But it's an episode that stars Lee Phillips, Joyce Van Patten, Wilfred Hyde White, and Gladys Cooper. So we'll look forward to that. Also, I believe have Raymond on back for that one too. So we'll see if things change. Who knows what the hell goes on? But the week after that is Alex's favorite episode, so she better come on for that one.
Okay, it's not my favorite. Whoa. We know my favorite episode is. I'm just a defender of the Bard being like not as bad as people say it is. Truly,
We're still
I
making
like
you come on for that episode.
Yeah, I know. You just
but
can't
no,
stop me from coming back.
Right.
It just can't happen,
Only work can make that happen, but that'll do it. That'll be look forward to next week's episode. Once again, penultimate episode. We're almost done with the 4th season.
Ooh, fancy
Jacob
words.
will probably rank this as number 1, as the greatest season ever.
It's gonna be sad, by the way, Nick. I'm gonna warn you. That episode.
What, Passage of Lady Anne?
Yeah. If you thought this was sad, you're gonna think next week's episode's sad. Spoilers.
See, why can't we have some good times in the 4th season? Gosh.
I mean, the incredible world of horror.
I'm sorry, I had to
been
warn
fun.
you.
I'm sure I'll be crying through this whole week. But anyways, Alex, Jacob, Triv, awesome as always. Glad we found an episode that was fun to watch, entertaining to watch after last week's episode. So Triv, I'm gonna start with you this week. I usually start with Alex, but Alex is now one of us, so she gets to
Google gobble.
Exactly.
We accept her.
So Trev, you have content. You post videos more often than I think the 3 of us combined at this point. So where, when, how is your content?
The where is Trivial Theater here on YouTube. The when is hopefully soon. The why is because reasons. The cup size is I heart Uranus. No. I went to a film fest, saw some interesting little ones that I wanted to talk about. So my next couple reviews are just going to be short little tidbits talking about them. Hopefully I can crank those in decent time so it doesn't take me a month to upload again. And I also put up The Boys from County Hell, really fun movie. Tried to put out a good review, so check it out.
Excellent. Alex, I know at some point in the future you will post videos, but I know you still have content on YouTube. You don't have social medias, but where's your content at least? Where's it located?
It's at Alex Carson. It's that simple. You don't have to travel to a whole other planet to see it.
Fantastic
stuck on
Twilight
by
Zone
itself.
content.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely more straightforward than most of our content, but
Well, it's also just, I'm like, well, I just want one platform. And then I did it. Best decision I ever made.
Cool.
So,
I'm like coming on to our podcast.
Yay.
yeah. But that's still on
Yeah.
YouTube. So it's like, if it's all under one umbrella, I'm like sick.
Jacob,
Yes.
I leave you for last because you have the most content that posts and the most
What?
thought out because you take a lot of time and effort to put in your
Well,
videos and
okay.
Maybe we
Okay.
should go in alphabetical order next time.
No, that's fine.
I
I
mean,
can take it.
I look
I
at my
can take
computer.
it.
I'm like, what
It's
what
only
letter
fair.
comes first? No, I'm kidding.
I
No,
can
but
take
in
it.
all honesty, like your last video, your PS3 video was awesome. I actually watched the whole thing, and
Wow.
I don't
thank
know
you.
if you saw the thumbnail, but I may have pulled it from your picture from the thumbnail from your video. So
He was trying to prove you have a friendship
did?
with you, Jacob. How do you feel?
Yay.
no, I actually did.
Well.
I was trying to find. You wanted a new picture, and you didn't send me anything, so I found it on your last video. But
There's
it's an
lots of
awesome
pictures of me on the internet.
video.
Why could you
yeah.
just send him one? I
I
did.
didn't think about it. I can.
Nah, it's all good. Anyways, check it out. The first picture update is post tomorrow. So if you don't like it, I can fix it. But Jacob, content, where it located? How is it? What is it? Who is it?
On YouTube at Retro Jake XY. I do video game old video game things and stuff, and talk about it. I talk a lot, kind of like I do here, but about old games and old things. So go check that out. Like and subscribe. I have a video on the PS3, came out 2 weeks ago. I have another video that'll probably be out by the time this comes out or around then. I don't know. I'm working on it. It's a smaller video. Actually, it's like almost 2 hours. No, hour. I don't know how long it is. I can't remember. It's late. It's long, and I have 2 more filmed that I'm working on
Cool.
about. Those are surrounding my collection. So
You just want them to go. You don't know what your collection's about. You need to learn. You need to
yeah, I've had
get
people say
experience.
that. You don't know what you're talking about. Your collection and your thoughts about your experiences with your stuff. Fuck
That you
you.
may have played. It's
I guess you're right. I don't know about this.
uh,
I don't. I went and played this game, rented this game when I was a kid, and I was spending the night at my sister's house. I don't know about that. That's what those videos are like, by the way. It's like it's not really so much about the games. Some of it is kind of, I'll give an overview, but it's kind of like, hey, this is an experience I had surrounding this. And one of them was that, like, I was really excited about this game, and my older sister, I went to spend the night at her house, and I rented this game, and I was really disappointed. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, okay.
welcome
Stop
to the world
babbling about
of,
things you don't know. That's what he said. Stop babbling about things you don't know anything about. Do some research. I was like, okay,
Sorry.
welcome to the world of Retro Jake XY,
right?
where Jacob apparently knows nothing because commenters say so.
Yep.
You know, honestly,
Um,
most of my viewers are very kind and very nice, and I get mostly good comments. It's unlike the movie review space. That was a shit show.
I mean, at least you get comments. I mean, more than I get. So
yeah. They're mostly
Anyways.
very, very like it's a nice community. Every now and then you get a nut job, but that's the internet.
Yep.
Oh my god, thank you
Exactly.
so much for watching the Fifth Dimension podcast.
Yay.
It's uploaded every
Oh.
Wednesday, and then we're almost done with
Yes.
season 4,
Yay.
which means
I
I'll
know.
be showing up for the bard. But someone else will come next week. Do you know who that is?
In all honesty, I have this Fifth Dimension podcast I post on my channel, Movie Emporium. I did reviews or have my 3rd episode review of Dark Matter, which I think everybody should watch if they have Apple TV Plus because it's pretty great sci-fi.
Nice.
may post a review for Planet of the Apes, the new Planet of the Apes movie coming out. I'm
Have
trying
you
to
seen
get
it?
That's
that.
Is it
coming
good?
out.
No, it comes out. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Oh.
Cool.
Wednesday. Yeah, so I think unless I'm really tired, which I am right now. So
You're not
And
watching it
there's
on
some other thing-
Thursday, man. Disappointing.
well, they're doing early Wednesday, so I'm like, I have to go see it because I heard it's good.
Oh,
But
fair enough.
yeah. So, anyways, that's where my content's at. Once again, I don't know the future, so I don't know what I'm posting, what I'm not. But look for Dark Matter episode 3 at this point. So, anyways, without further ado, we're gonna leave. We're gonna go back into the Twilight Zone, and we're gonna end the night alone on the planet by ourselves. So, without further ado, for myself, Triv, Jacob, and Alex, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
Bye.
Anybody have anything they want to get off their chest before we start recording? Or
I want an ice or chocolate ice cream soda instead
said
of
that,
hot
like-
flat water.
You said that like a parent who's like asking their kid something and they already know the answer. It's like, anything you want to tell me about last night?
I mean,
That's why I'm
I
late
want to be
tonight, by
part of
the
your
way.
family, Jacob.
That they
See all the
did.
problems we have, Alex, trying to get this shit together. Such a
I know.
mess.
I mean, I just showed up in
I
the
was
Zoom
just like,
call
I
and
just
I was
showed
like, I'm here.
Yay.
Yeah.
You're like,
I didn't
I
even
don't
know you
use
were here.
OBS or
I
anything.
was
I flat out just show up. My
Yeah.
camera, my desktop.
yeah,
Yay.
she just shows up and I don't even realize it. I'm like, hey, when's Alex coming on? She's like, I'm already here.
Yep,
Um,
basically.